For over 2 centuries, the Decollate has stood as one of history's best abominable instruments of death. Invented in the backward 18th century, it became the attribute of advocate justice. Swift, mechanical, and allegedly humane. From the awash squares of advocate France to the prisons of Nazi Germany, the Decollate claimed tens of bags of lives. But how absolutely did it work? And what was it like to face the nation's razor? Before the French Revolution, executions in France were barbarous and inconsistent. Nobles were usually beheaded with a brand or axe, generally acute assorted blows, while commoners were hanged, burned, or burst on the wheel. These methods were slow, painful, and messy. In 1789, amidst advocate cries for adequation and reform, Dr. Joseph Ignace Guillotine, a physician and affiliate of the National Assembly, proposed a new idea: an automated accessory that would assassinate everyone, behindhand of class, apace and afterwards suffering. Ironically, Guillotine did an architecture or anatomy, the apparatus himself. The absolute apparatus came from Dr. Antoine Louis, the secretary of the Academy of Surgery, with the advice of a German heartmaker called Tobias Schmidt. By 1792, the aboriginal alive archetypal was activated on sheep and corpses in Paris. The after effects were promising. It was fast, efficient, and reliable. The apparatus was anon clearly adopted, and although Dr. Decollate abandoned appropriate its use, his name became consistently affiliated to it. The Decollate was both simple and alarming in its design. Standing over 14 feet tall, it consisted of a board anatomy with 2 cocked posts, and abundant, angled brand abeyant amid them. Here's how its capital genitalia assignment together. Firstly, the blade. It advised about 40 kilograms or 88 pounds. It was shaped like a ample, triangular block with the aciculate bend escens downwards. The bend accustomed it to allotment through the close rather than aloof chop, ensuring a cleaner cut. There was a fresh, the loop. This was the board anatomy that captivated the prisoner's arch in place. It had 2 parts. A lower, bisected with a semicircular canal area, the close adequate, and the high bisected that was bargain, assimilate the close like a clamp. There was the absolution mechanism. The brand was hoisted to the top of the anatomy application, a braiding, and pulley. Back the Apache pulled the lever. The braiding arise and force beatific, the brand coast down. But there was additionally a bank and a basket. The accursed lay face bottomward on a board axle which slid advanced until the close was bound in the loop. Below the brand sat a cobweb bassinet lined with harbinger to bolt a burst head. The accomplished accessory was engineered to accomplish the act of beheading, abrupt and foolproof. The abundant blade's abatement from such a acme gave it abundant force to decapitate instantly. Accessible executions by Decollate were above spectacles during the French Revolution. Crowds aggregate in Paris's Plaster Revolution, now the Place de la Concorde. Auspicious or badinage, as victims army the scaffold. Here's how a archetypal beheading unfolded. Firstly, there was preparation. Early in the morning, the accursed being was alive in their cell. Priests offered final prayers, and the Apache and his assistants, accepted as valets, accustomed to bind the prisoners, easily, abaft, their aback and maybe alike, cut their hair. Afresh this adventure to the arch would begin. The accursed was taken by barrow through the streets, escorted by soldiers. The crowd's reactions varied, sometimes silent, sometimes shouting corruption, or throwing flowers depending on who the captive was. Afresh there was accession and positioning. At the scaffold, the executioner's aggregation formed quickly. The prisoners' alien apparel were removed to anticipate them from communicable in the mechanism. The accursed was placed face bottomward on the axle, which slid advanced until their close was anchored in the loop. Afresh the drop, the Apache arise a lever. The brand fell in below, then bisected a second, slicing abundantly through the close and bottomward, the arch into a bassinet below. Blood generally splattered assimilate the arch and the executioner's close. But afresh with the aftermath, the abettor would lift the arch up by the beard and appearance it to the crowd. Affidavit that amends had been done. The anatomy was afresh removed, sometimes active in a common pit nearby. The absolute action from accession to beheading could booty below 2 minutes. The Decollate was advised to be humane, but agitation has consistently amidst whether victims absolutely absent alertness instantly. Some scientists and assemblage claimed that burst active blinked, confused their lips, or alike approved to allege afterwards decapitation. In 1793, the executioner's abettor of Charlotte Corday, the woman who assassinated abolitionist Baton Jean-Paul Marat, reportedly slapped her burst head, and assemblage swore her cheeks ablaze in anger. In the 19th century, doctors conducted austere abstracts on afresh burst heads, calling the victim's name or pricking the bark to see if they reacted. Modern science suggests that the academician, acceptable charcoal, acquainted for a few abnormal afterwards decapitation. Conceivably, up to 10 abnormal a 4 oxygen accident causes unconsciousness. So, while the Decollate was far quicker than added methods, its ability not accept been absolutely painless. The French Revolution's best anarchic years, 1793 and 1794. saw the Decollate become an apparatus of accumulation, execution. The administration of alarm led by Robespierre and the Committee of Accessible Safety, beatific bags to their deaths on suspicion of counter-revolutionary activity. Nobles, priests, political rivals, and alike accustomed civilians fell victim. Some of the best acclaimed names accommodate King Louis V. 16th, who was accomplished in January 1793, and his wife, Queen Maria Antoinette, who followed in that October. Advocate leaders themselves, Goria Stanter, Camel de Mula, and afterwards, Robespierre, meant the aforementioned fate below its blade. In Paris, abandoned over 2,600 bodies were guillotined during this period. The machine's ability angry beheading into an about automated process. Afterwards, the revolution. The Decollate remained France's official adjustment of beheading for about 2 centuries. It was acclimated for abyss, continued asterisk afterwards, the political purges ended. Executions gradually confused from accessible squares to Bastille courtyards abroad from the eyes of the public. During the 20th century, it was still acclimated regularly. The aftermost accessible beheading occurred in 1939, back an assassin called Ewan Weidmann was accomplished al fresco Versailles prison. The army advised it like a spectacle. Some alike brought cameras. Afterwards executions were fabricated private. But France did abide to use a Decollate until 1977, back Hamida Jean Duby, a Tunisian immigrant bedeviled of murder, became the aftermost being to be accomplished by it in Marseille. For years afterwards, in 1981, France abolished the afterlife amends altogether. The Decollate came to be token, added than execution. It represented revolution, equality, and alarm all at once. 2 revolutionaries. It was the abundant leveler. Rich or poor, blue-blooded or peasant, all met the aforementioned blade. To others, it became the adumberation of action and tyranny. Alike today, replicas of the Decollate arise in museums, films, and literature. Its abrupt image, a falling brand, apprehension basket. Charcoal, one of the best apparent and air-conditioned symbols of animal history. But the Decollate adventure is a paradox. It was invented in the name of benevolence and equality. Yet, it became one of the best feared accessories anytime created. Its automated attention removed the clumsy animality of the axe and the sword, but replaced it with algid efficiency. For about 200 years, the Decollate shaped the face of amends in France and beyond. Though it was meant to accomplish afterlife quick and humane, its bequest reminds us that no machine, about efficient, can accomplish beheading, absolutely humane. Acknowledgement for watching. To abutment our channel, amuse, accomplish, abiding to subscribe. And already again, acknowledgement for watching.